Okay, you're verifying that it says recording.
It says recording.
So we don't have an issue like we had last week. All right, there's already people joining. Good morning. Well, it's not even, yeah, it is for one more minute. It is morning. We'll give everybody just a couple minutes to join. Boy, they're jumping on like crazy. How awesome. Ronda and I are sitting here in Becky's office. Because of the technical difficulties we had last week, we wanted to be hardwired into the internet. So we're in Becky's office, which is full of VBS supplies. We've been chit-chatting all morning, and we wanted to get everything lined out yesterday and have our outline and everything, and it just didn't work. And then this morning it just feels like God brought everything together. So I don't know why when I do that, Dawn. Can somebody type in the chat, when you look at your screen, do you see Rhonda and I in a big picture and then Dawn Johnson as a little icon, or is Dawn big for you? I want to record this where it shows Rhonda and I. Okay, you just see us. Good. All right, that's what I wanted to know, because right now I'm looking at a screen that says Dawn Johnson in big letters. Not that we don't want you to see Dawn Johnson, but okay, thanks, Sedona. All right, we're going to get started on time, and it's 12:01, so make sure Allie is muted. All right, I am Tammy Hitt, and this is my sister, Rhonda Suver. I have tried for many, many years to do things with her in the form of a teaching or something. I think I got her one time to come to a MOPS group, and we talked to mothers of preschoolers, shared all kinds of wisdom, I'm sure, yes. But Rhonda is not comfortable in a teaching situation. So I want to be proud for just a moment that I got Allie Holman to do an interview with no makeup on, and now I've got my sister here with me. So, you know, I'm just feeling really, really good about all of this. Let me do our housekeeping here for just a minute. For anybody who may not have been on one of our webinars, I'm going to monitor the chat as we go through. So if you hover over your computer screen, whether you are on your phone or a tablet or a computer, if you hover over, you'll see some menu items at the bottom, and if you click on chat, it will open up a side panel where you can chat with us. Also at the bottom is a link to Q&A, and we may take some questions as we go through this. And then we are also going to have a couple of polls that we will ask a question, and it will pop a box up in the middle of the screen, and we want you to answer the poll on that box so that it will record everybody's answer, and then we'll be able to share those results. So today's topic is hobbies as a way to nourish your soul. And a few weeks ago, when this idea came to fruition, and hobbies just was part of it. I mean, I really feel like, you know, it was an inspiration from God to do this webinar. And when I thought about hobbies, there was really only one person that came to mind that does a really good job of using hobbies to, fulfill them. And it was Rhonda. We're also going to try very hard not to cry. so, um, so I asked Rhonda about doing this, and she said, yeah, she felt really comfortable with this topic. So, like I said, we both have notes, but we don't have an outline. So we're just going to go with the flow and see how this happens. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to her and see what she has to say, and we'll see where this goes.
Okay. Well, I'm thankful that she let me bring up the rear of this, because this is, as she said, way out of my comfort zone. Because I've learned from every one of you, the other 4 ladies. I've been sitting here breathing like Becky taught us to do. Sometimes I hold my breath too long, though. I can't remember how many seconds to do each one, but it gives me something to focus on and not be so nervous. When Dawn spoke about nutrition, that one hit me really hard. I don't know that it was so much about nutrition, but it was about looking at myself differently. Here come the tears. But it has put in my mind to stop being so hard on myself. Norma talked about the importance of a personal Bible study, and even though she didn't say it, what has kept going through my mind is stop making excuses. Because I tend to do that. And Allie, bless her soul, I am not a runner, and I really don't like to exercise. It's just the truth. But when I listened to Allie, she helped me see something different about not just running or specific exercise, but I like to work hard. I like to physically work hard outside, in the garden, in the yard, whatever. And it made me realize kind of why I like to do that. I can go outside and work in the flower bed, or I can dig a big hole. And through that, I spend time just with myself and God, and I pray and I work through things, and things just kind of work out. In the end, it just all makes a perfect, peaceful sense. So I get now why she runs. And I've appreciated all of those things that the other ladies have talked about. As Tammy and I talked off and on about me talking today, for both of us, kind of what came to the forefront was joy, and finding our joy. And we love our families and our people and our church, and all of those things are wonderful things for us, but we need time just for us, even if it's just a little bit of time. And it's where we find that joy. And I wrote a couple things about joy that I found, of course, online. Definitions of joy. A vibrant happiness. I liked that one. Another was a deep-rooted, inspired happiness. And through my hobbies, crafts, I have so many. I kind of jump from one to another, whether I'm in the flower bed or I'm building something or tearing something out, or doing needlework or whatever it is. It's about joy. It's about just finding something that just brings me a sense of joy and peace that doesn't really have to have a rhyme or reason to it. I talked with a friend this morning who very much likes to do those type of things too. Sometimes it's the planning process.
Mhm.
Because it's like my quiet time in my mind that I can see it. I can visualize something I want to do. Nobody's critical in my mind. I can change it over and over. And so the planning process is fun for me. Then I get to the middle process, and it's the doing it. You got to kind of work hard through the middle sometimes. It is hard work. I sweat. I hurt myself. I, I do pray often, the same little prayer, and I know Norma is inspiring me to pray harder and more about things, but I often pray, Lord, help me not to hurt myself today because I want to have fun doing this. And I'm so accident prone, but then when I get to the end of whatever it is, picking up a paintbrush just brings me so much joy to see the color change, or to see that I have made it, or that maybe it turned out like I thought it was going to in my mind, or maybe it's totally different, but I did it. And I love it. I love the process. And some people may not love the process. My friend this morning says, I hate the middle. I hate the hard part. But at the end, even if it's ugly, and I told Tammy this morning, sometimes I'll build something or repurpose something, or I'll have these great intentions and I get to the end and it is so ugly that I take it out and burn it. But I still enjoyed the process so much. So that's, I guess, what we want you to find is something, not for your kids, not for your husband, something for you that brings you that inspired joy in your heart, just makes you happy. That's what we want you to find, is something for you.
So let's ask a question real quick, a poll. So I'm going to launch this. It's simple yes or no question. Do you have a hobby? And as you answer this, we started thinking we should ask you what it is. So over in the chat on the side, after you answer the poll, if you do have a hobby, tell us what it is. Ronda and I have talked about different things. We're both sporting our 4th of July manicures, and we're doing the nail dip. So, and
it's so fun and rewarding.
It is. I do decorative planning. I've done Bible journaling. I'm a new gardener due to the pandemic. I have the most awesome garden. I'm a chicken farmer. I even at one point was a surrogate chicken farmer. I raised baby chickens for somebody else because my chickens bring me joy. Rhonda's got lots of.
We do different things.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part,
Mm-hmm.
we do different things. I like to build. I love to repurpose. I love to tile. It's hard. I hate the grouting, but I love to tile. I like woodworking. I don't know. There's so many, but we do different things. The journaling stresses me out. But I am not good, I don't feel like, at some of the things she is. And that's how we all are. So we all have different talents. And
I like to make jewelry. One thing that we both do like to do is cook and bake.
Yes.
Especially for others. And I told her this morning during the quarantine, the beginning, I started making bread because you couldn't buy bread and you couldn't find yeast. So I started making sourdough bread, and I swear I bet I made 100 loaves of bread. only ate about 50 of those, gave the other 50 away, and had so much fun giving
Yes.
that away.
Mm-hmm.
So my chickens, I'm this close. I should be getting eggs from my new batch of chickens very soon. So I'm going to have more chickens laying more eggs than what my family can eat. I only have done this because it's going to be so fun to give away my chicken eggs. In fact, I've been looking at little stamps that I can stamp each egg with a cute little thing before I give them away. It just makes me happy to be able to do that. And before I turn it back over to Rhonda, I told her this morning, God is so good. I cleaned my office the other day. Well, no, I cleaned a tray in my office the other day, and I found a book that I had misplaced, and I was like, oh, so excited to find that. Hadn't looked at it, just it was laying on my desk, and this morning I opened it up, and it's called Whisper, How to Hear the Voice of God, and it talks about 7 ways that God speaks to you. One of the ways God speaks is in delight or joy. So I want to read you what it says in this book about delight. 7 times in the book of Genesis, God steps back from the canvas of his creation and admires his handiwork and sees that it is good. The word good comes from the Hebrew word tov. It's joy unspeakable. It's pure delight. That first emotion sets the tone and sets the bar. God delights in what he does, and he wants nothing less for us. He wants us to delight in his creation. He wants us to delight in one another, and above all, he wants us to delight ourselves in him. You know, some women, probably the majority of women, feel guilty doing things for ourselves. Oh, Mom just got in. Hi, Mom. But we feel guilty doing things for ourselves. But an illustration I read a long time ago, and it has stuck with me, is if you've ever been on an airplane and you've listened to the talk that the stewardess gives at the beginning, where she tells you where the 2 exit rows are at the front and the middle and the back, and how to put your oxygen mask on if it were to fall, and you pull on the cord to start the flow, and then you put it over they always say put your own oxygen mask on first before you help others, before you would help your children or anyone else that needs help. We're supposed to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of others. And we've all been at a place where we've been too stressed or too depressed, or burning the candle at both ends, not getting enough rest, where we are not all that God created us to be, and we're no good to anybody else when we reach that point. And honestly, that's what probably inspired this whole series. In the spring, where we were all sheltering at home and people weren't working, or they were working at home and kids were home, and we all got out of our routines and we couldn't find the groceries that we needed, or toilet paper, or whatever it was. I've referred to it as a forced change in our routine.
Yes.
I need my routine, and I don't like it when my routine is changed. And that caused, I was seeing a lot of people, we're all on Facebook because what else are we going to do? And people are saying, I've had my pajamas on for 3 days. At 9 o'clock in the evening is when I put on my new pajamas for the night, because I haven't had makeup on for 3 weeks. All these things. And I was seeing, women just becoming anxious and depressed. And that's where this whole reset your routine was inspired, I guess. So for women, we have to know that it's okay to take care of ourselves, whatever we need to do to take care of ourselves. And actually, if Rhonda wasn't already crying, this would probably make her cry. I've watched her do this for years and admired her for saying, I'm sorry, that's just not going to work for me. I can't be there, or I can't do that, because she knew she didn't have it. She didn't have the ability at that time to do that.
That was a long process, though, and that is something that I've talked to several of my friends about, is learning to say no, because you have to have a little time for yourself. And I just told Tammy no, just a week or so ago, on something else. But if nothing else, through this today, every one of you needs to find something that brings you peace, joy, happiness in yourself, so that you can continue taking care of your kids, your family, your extended family, your friends, whatever it is that takes your time. And we talked about, we have some friends and family who don't have a hobby necessarily, but it may be reading, it may be something different. Maybe you like to go fishing, I don't know, but whatever it is, take some time for you so you can be your best you. Did you write this?
I did write that.
Tammy gave me a little worksheet, devotional kind of thing. And it's called How to Love Your Life. But the first part of it is about simply sitting down and writing down the things you love, the things that make you happy. She even said, look back on your childhood and reminisce about the things you loved as a child. She's got crayons in her desk. She just told me the other day that she smells them because it makes her happy.
They've never been colored with either.
Which makes me happy.
Tips, every single one of them. I just open them and look at them and smell them.
Yeah. But so sit down and write down the things that bring you joy and think about them. Come up with something that will bring you a little bit of peace and a little bit of joy in this crazy time where we don't know what's happening next, and we never really do, but it's really heightened now. That's really what I want you to come away from this with, is something to just bring you that happy time for you.
And it's okay to be silly. I mean, I just admitted that I have crayons in my desk. I love bubbles. I used to always keep bubbles in my purse, and my favorite thing would be to blow them like out the window of the car when I was in the bank drive-through, so they'd float through the air and people would wonder where they came from. Or in a crowded gym, I have been known to blow bubbles and let them float, and people just go, what in the world? Puppy breath, the smell of a baby. It's okay to buy that Johnson's baby lotion and put it on yourself if you don't have a baby. Whatever it is, the smell of lilac. I remember my grandma Sink's lilac bush. So Dakota got me a lilac bush for Mother's Day last year. And, that just takes me back to my childhood. I've been looking for a start of ribbon grass that Grandma Sink used to have, because she always taught us how to, whistle with that grass stretched between our thumb and, whatever that is. So give yourself permission to be silly and just really think about the little things that bring you joy. This worksheet that Rhonda is referring to, I wrote years ago for a presentation that I gave. And I actually, when you get the email, the post-webinar email, there's a link to that worksheet in there so you can read through the rest of it. But I've got one more poll question because we just want to know where you are. Let's see. Oh, I guess this poll question has probably been up there for like the last 10 minutes. But okay, here's a new one. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much joy do you have in your life right now? 1 to 10. These are anonymous, so we don't know what you're voting. But it's okay to be honest. Good, good. Most of you are 7, 8, 9. There's a 1.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we've inspired you to make some changes. Okay, there's the results. Most of you are at an 8, which is really, really
That's
great.
Mm-hmm.
And we know it changes from day to day.
Yes.
From day to day. Oh, the smell of a new book. That's a good
That
one.
is a good one. Yeah. Even if I don't read it.
Okay, I've got one more quote out of this book that I wanted to read. Life is too short to not love what you do. So do what you love. The key is finding the place where gifts and desires overlap. God-given gifts are what we're best at. God-ordained desires are what we're most passionate about. And the place where those gifts and desires overlap is the sweet spot. You know, I think we have to realize that God created us the way that He did. He created us with emotions, and He created us with, you know, the love for crafting or, you know, making other people happy, you know, giving to others. You know, He created us all different, but with all these different desires. And He wants us to have joy in this life. Of course, ultimately, I think our job as women, especially with the people around us that we have influence over, if we have joy in our life and we're loving what we do and we're serving others around us, we're ministering to the other people around us, you know, our job is to make sure those people spend eternity with us.
Right.
And I'll just be flat honest, if I'm burning the candle at both ends and I'm a grouch, then who wants to spend eternity with me? My husband would tell you he's not so sure he does. You know, he sees the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we have to take care of ourselves, lady, and we have to find joy. We have to do that. So,
I can say I'm not crying now because I'm not happy. It's the letdown is coming out. I've survived it.
it's 12:27. You know it's about over, don't you? So, somebody had asked how many people are here today. We've got 14 people on the webinar today. We're going to open it up for Q&A in this last 3 minutes. So if you have any questions that you would like for us to talk about before we end, feel free to type those in. Do you feel challenged at all to find something? You know, as I was thinking over the things that Rhonda and I do, and it's a wide variety. We watched our mom do that for years. Yes. She was a member of the Homemakers Association, and I can remember some of the crafts that she used to do. And of course, then baking and cooking and stuff as well, gardening. We learned all those things from mom, but we were also in 4-H, so we did some of those things in 4-H, and it's good to find something. If nothing else, if you don't have a hobby, just go to Hobby Lobby and browse every single aisle. You'll find stuff that you've been dying to do all your life and didn't even know.
Yes.
I bought a whole bunch of soap making stuff the other day. I guess I'm going to make soap.
Well, we could have another long session on buying craft supplies. But
If
we might need some counseling on. I might need some.
If
counseling
you
on
haven't
that.
done it already, turn off that one-click ordering on Amazon, because
Yeah.
that will get you in trouble, especially in the middle of the night if you cannot sleep.
Yeah.
Dania, I think is the way you pronounce her name, says, thank you for putting this on. It's hard to speak in front of others. She's enjoyed the topics and insights. Oh, I've made bath salts and bath bombs as well. And I made soap when my boys were little. And I would put, it was the melt and pour, and I would put little toys and stuff inside the soap, thinking I'll just get them, using the soap, so they, encourage them to wash. And then one night Justin came in, he was so proud, and he had found a little tool or something, and he had dug the toy out of the soap. He was like, look, Mom, I got it. He was so proud.
Just remember that you don't have to be good at all this stuff.
Oh, no.
You don't have to be good at it. It's just about enjoying it.
Enjoy the process.
If it makes you happy, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks of it, or
Yeah.
really what the end result is, as long as it made you happy.
And if you spend a bunch of time making stuff, but then you have fun when you burn it, you might have a problem.
Maybe
It came from Grandma Gifford, because she was a pyromaniac. But as long as you're happy, that allows you to love those around you well.
Yes.
And I think that's the real plan, or the real goal. So, okay, well, I don't see any questions. We've completed our 30 minutes, and I think that's all. So I'm going to type this in here just in case. We've had a little trouble with some of the post-webinar emails not going out. So I'm just going to give you the website. To where all the replays are posted. So there is one for each of the 5 weeks, and then next week we're going to make the playlist on YouTube public, so that if you enjoyed these, you can share that with your friends, and people will be able to find them.
Yeah.
So
before you turn it off, thank you for doing all this, and I love you very much.
Oh, I love you too, sis. On that note, before I cry like she, we're going to stop this webinar now. So I'm going to end the recording.